Could you talk about the experience of deciding to take greater risk now that you were in seat, that you were realizing that you had to build credibility? You were the owner, of course, so you ultimately did have the right to make these kinds of decisions, but it could have been very easy for you to also retrench because the company is considerably larger. All of the aspects of the organization have prospered and expanded, and that meant that you had to either double down or take bigger bets than were in place when you got the big chair. Could you talk about that experience or times when you were deciding to stretch yet again, this time as the sole owner?
Well, I think the times that we're in have really helped that, because in the automobile business, we're in a whole different place than we've ever been, with electric automobiles, with self-driving, with all kinds of changes that are coming. And having to be aware of all that kind of stuff and looking at the future has really helped me to be able to say, look, I'm not afraid of change. I know we can do it. We've been successful for 41 years. We're not going to stop being successful now just because we have challenges. So I think, again, most of what makes a difference is communication, making yourself known, saying things out loud about what you want and how you feel, and not being afraid that you're going to be laughed at or ridiculed, or that's just part of the job. You're not going to please everybody all the time. But in the business, in private business, you don't have that big of a margin. You only have a few that hate you part of the time. But that's okay. I have to worry about where we're going and how we're going to get there and how we're going to maintain what we have while providing the jobs for the people that we hire in a way that they can have good lives. So I don't shy away from looking at things that are different. We've looked at diversifying into totally different businesses, things that we've never done before, and we will do that even more. We've set up our company finances so that we have a fund for diversity, so that when it comes along, we will, for diversifying, so that when it comes along, we'll be ready. Whatever it is, and it could be anything. We're not locked into the car business. Sports and entertainment is, that's a very different animal. It's one that, being part of an NBA, you're bound by a lot of their rules, but you still have latitude to exercise your way of doing business. We just are good operators. We're very careful, we're honest, we're ethical, we're frugal. And so having that foundation allows us to look at different things that come along, say, that's something we'd like. No, that's not. This works with us. That doesn't. And our CEO is very connected to me. So he's not off on his own. He keeps me informed. We talk every day or two about what's going on. What are the new things he's dealing with? What are the problems? What are the challenges? What are the good things? So I stay involved that way.
When I think about innovation, most people talk about embracing change and believe that they're embracing change and are able to grow themselves very quickly. And you've been a role model of growing into this greater vision of what you become. In other words, continuing to version yourself towards being able to build an organization that could sustain a community and jobs and culture. And yet the innovation process, the innovator's dilemma is that it's messy. When people try to do things new, you get a little beyond our wheelhouse, or you have to experiment with things that won't work out. That's part of what scientists learn when they do their experiments.
Sure.
Could you talk about that part of the messiness process or the risk-taking process that allows you to say, okay, well, that didn't work, but we're going to go here, or maybe we're going to abandon it entirely it's a big challenge for almost every organization. Even a micropreneur has a struggle with learning from or harvesting or benefiting from fit.
You are absolutely right. And as I watched Larry in the first 30 years of our company, he was a person, he was a true entrepreneur, and he didn't mind risk, but he also wanted to have as much surety as he could. But if there was something that didn't work, he'd cut it out and add something that did. And so I learned from him that it's okay to let go of something that isn't working. It's better to let go of it than to let it drag you down. And as we looked at our dealerships, we have, you have a range from losing money to making a lot of money in the spectrum. Why keep the ones that are losing money? Because that just drags down the average. We feel like we have done a good enough job over the years that we've earned the right to make decisions based on what we really want and not what we have to take. So we don't look, if we look at a dealership or a new business that we evaluate and there's a good return on it, then we are excited about that. But if it doesn't fit with our requirements, we pass, because it's not the only time we're gonna, we don't have to take a bad deal.
It's interesting how that selection process is so key with the people that you hire, with the partners that you make, and with the contract that you kind of have with the experiments, which is, as you said, okay, it's not working. Can I let it go? And it's easy to become either too much the hero or too embarrassed often to, in a sense, cut your losses. Or you've paid the tuition already, so why aren't we learning from that experience?